Hello everyone, my name is Cadet Todd Batchelder, and tonight I will be going over the book Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevesky. So, who this author was before he wrote the novel. He was a part of the Russian intelligentsia when he was a young man. And as a young man, he had these set of ideals: Russian nihilism and utilitarianism. And he also was a part of this one book reading group in which he was reading banned books along with everyone else in that. So one day he and his friends get caught by the imperialist police, and they're thrown in jail. And sometime later they are notified that they're to be executed via firing squad. However, on the day of the execution, the Russian Tsar, in his act of benevolence, in the last minute, he decides to reduce their sentence down to 8 years of hard labor in Siberia. And in that time, in Siberia, our author was surrounded by the worst of society, such as murderers, thieves, you name it. He was surrounded by them all, and it was a pretty good inspiration for Crime and Punishment, his novel. And what the novel is all about, it is about a psychological account in the first person of a crime, a double murder, if you will, that was intellectually driven instead of emotionally driven. And the intellectually driven double murderer, who is also the narrator and the main character as well, is a college student named Raskolnikov, a poor college student who also has self-isolated himself for quite some time before the story even started. And this character had the same ideals that, or at least adopted the same ideals that our author had, which I mentioned earlier: Russian nihilism and utilitarianism. So, what Russian nihilism is where you believe that you are a machine that has no soul, however conscious, and that no concrete set of laws govern your existence. However, there is utilitarianism, which ties in, surprisingly, with Russian nihilism. And the reason why is because that it helps create the same ideological group that our author was in, which was pretty much pre-communism. So, what utilitarianism is that your actions are judged whether or not they were done for the greatest good of the greatest number. So, Raskolnikov, before the murder, he starts socializing more with society. And before the murder, he has this nightmare which consisted of a childhood memory, in which a defenseless horse was getting beaten to death by a mob of drunk men, which was pretty much a red flag for him. It was a red flag for him, telling him not to do this crime, not to kill Alona Ivanova, who is the victim, along with her sister. So, and also, a little bit after that scene, there's a scene in the tavern to where his thoughts are surging through his head about the murder. He's really nervous. And he also hears this conversation that's based off of what he's about to do, or what he wants to do shortly in the novel. So he doesn't go as the murderer, kills both the old woman and her sister and takes some of her money, but not all of it. And he doesn't know what to do with it afterwards. But regardless, he feels better about himself that he now did it. However, his morality that he had since was a kid, because he was Russian Orthodox, and these beliefs of utilitarianism and Russian nihilism are pretty much clashing with each other like crazy. And so pretty much what happens is that he starts going crazy again. He starts feeling that the city's too small for him to breathe. Even when his mother visits, it feels like to her that the city is just as hot, oppressive, cramped, and musty as her own son. As her own son, Raskolnikov. Eventually, it gets to the point to where Raskolnikov gets convicted of the murder by confessing his crime. So he gets sent off to Siberia. And the epilogue, it's pretty much said in a nutshell that our main character he still has these ideals. Like, his thoughts afterwards, after being arrested, was that he failed his ideals. That he wasn't unfeeling enough. He wasn't emotionless enough to commit the crime. Because if he committed a crime and shown no emotion over it and lost no sleep, then Russian nihilism and utilitarianism would have worked out perfectly for him if it had been for his own morality of Russian Orthodox Christianity fighting those two new ideals that he picked up. So in the end, after we've read the novel, after I read the novel anyways, after the novel's been read, we then know that this novel here, that the main argument, which is also the moral of the story, is that when you pick up some new ideologies or beliefs or what have you, you first need to think about the consequences both in the near and far future and all the futures in between. You need to think very hard about it. Otherwise, if you don't think it through hard enough, whether it's going to conflict, whether your ideals are going to conflict, your new ideals are going to conflict or not, then chances are you are running the risk of almost losing your mind. And so, I personally, I think this is a great book. If you like crime novels, this is well worth the read, because this is like one of the first novels to be like a psychological first-person account of a crime, in which we already know who the murderer is. And it could have been other works, such as A Cask of Amontillado by Edgar Allan Poe, could have been based off of it, but that's an entirely different subject. Anyways, my name is Ty Batchelder, and I'll be seeing you sometime soon. Goodbye for now.